This is a video that I help docs out immediately in relationship to quarantine. Quick reminder, first of all, we're coming out of quarantine, better days are ahead. And also I want to remind you that where you are is not who you are. So what your practice is doing or not doing, don't let that reflect too much in your personality. Don't let it dictate your mood. Better days are ahead. I'm going to share something here I think can really help you out. Because one of the things that we've been teaching at our Elements workshop that's really been helping docs is a principle that comes to the timing of care. What I'm trying to say is when you set your care plans, it's more important to get time set and the repetition that they need in a care plan before you set money. If I were to say that succinctly, time before money is super important. But the principles that I apply that really brings us to a whole different level is the principle of time as it pertains to anchoring. You see, the principle of anchoring honors the fact that any information supplied before a question is asked dictates the outcome of the answer. What I mean is, whatever information you feed your patients in the day one about the time it's going to take to heal, the time they can anticipate, the time that this has been going on in their particular past, is going to change their answer to the question, how long do you think it's going to take to heal? And coincidentally, that's something you need to be doing before you start your report of findings. How long do you think this is going to take to heal? And if you do anchoring, what you supply them with a timeline before they answer that question, you've already altered the answer. In other words, you have a lot more control over people choosing care plans, people opting in for months of care instead of weeks of care than you realize. You have more control. And if you use anchoring, what you then have the ability to do is stretch their expectations, and then you make your recommendations under it. And everything that I teach at the Elements workshop is all about pushing up expectations and making recommendations under it. And quintessentially, this is how I teach docs to never sell. You don't need to be a salesman in chiropractic. You can create buyers. You can do this through influence, which is different than manipulation. Don't manipulate them ever. Adjust them on the tables, but the idea is you want to influence people towards better recommendations for their own health. And if you can push up time as the expectation, push it up through anchoring, then you can make your recommendations under it. And when expectations are above the recommendations, you'll never sell. If you make your recommendations above what they expected it to be on the timeline, then when it comes to money, it's going to be a lot of work. And remember, it's time before money. So if you do this right, you'll nail it. And part of why I love sharing this stuff is we have a lot of docs that are changing systems now that they've been in quarantine. In other words, if you took some big hits in quarantine or you chewed into your savings, then you haven't been running your practice correctly. And I say that with authority because we just got done doing a workshop here today in Chicago. I'm in a warehouse that we rented. It's a loft, a really cool area of Chicago that we rented to do the workshop because the hotels were closed. So the reason I share that with you, where there's a will, there's a way. And you cannot deposit your excuses. You can only deposit your successes. And so we said, we're going to come to Chicago. We're going to find a way. And that's how I run my practice. And that's how I teach my seminars is find a way to get this done, because coming out of quarantine, doc said, you know what, I almost went bankrupt. I took out more of my savings than I anticipated. And we had a doc here today at this Chicago workshop that admitted his second family member that he allowed on care plans, he was giving money back to the patients, and basically he was paying them to come in. No joke. So what we do is we put you through a quotient, through a mathematical problem, and he realized what it cost to see his patients. And then he realized the second family member from one family unit that would come in, his discounts were so steep, he was paying that family $4 per visit for them to get their care. Isn't that crazy? He was literally paying them to come get the care. And then we did the math with another doctor who was seeing 300 visits a week. And because of something very similar, he said, but actually 150 of those visits were people that were actually paying a profitable number for their care. The other 150 was like a dead even. So half of his visits in a week he was making money on, albeit a few bucks, and the other half he wasn't making any money. So if you're stuck in this high volume, low fee system, if you are someone maybe that took some hits during quarantine, it tapped into your savings, you were really scared because there was no income, make the shift. make the shift. And what we're doing is an East Coast and a West Coast elements of closing. It's a fat day 1 and a skinny day 2. And very simply, what I told my docs this weekend is what we did to put the workshop on. And that is, your potential is bigger than your problem. Your potential in this profession is much bigger if you're willing to put in the work. If you're willing to put in the work, you'll get the success. Work is required, struggle is not. Hey, join us for an Elements workshop. This concept of anchoring, it's huge, but it works on both ends. And you can actually get people to tell you that their expectation for care is going to be a minimum of 2 years. That's the most common answer we get in my practice. How long do you think it's going to take to get this problem fixed? And they'll go, at least 2 years. Cool. You're going to love my 90-day recommendation. Year care plans are too long in uncertain economies, which we are in right now. In economies with really high unemployment, year care plans are just too long. Too many docs are learning this lesson the hard way. Come join us at Elements. We're making your friends profitable, your colleagues profitable. Just join us. We don't make you choose tribes. Get the results, get your profits up so that you can help more people in your community. And we do it with volume, with value, and in a vitalistic way. Higher volume for you with great value for the people that pay for your care. And we do it in a vitalistic way that inevitably is going to have you massively profitable. Stop these bad habits, because again, the driving of revenue is for vanity. Your profitability is for your sanity. And we need to get clear on that. Profits are your sanity. The driving of revenue is for vanity. It's say, I run $1 million practice, but it cost me $1 million to run it. Bad idea. Let's get clear, and I'll give you the procedures that will help you all the way through this process, get massive results. Anchoring. Check it out. You're going to dig it. Time before money, and realize you've got to push up expectations so recommendations fall under it. More people will be opting into wellness care than original care. I got too much to share with you. You just need to join us. Florida, Vegas, next events. We'll see you at Elements of Closing. Let's come out of quarantine fired up, ready to go, and let's fill it up inside your practice with the right kind of patients, not the ones you're literally paying to be there. It's crazy, or as we say, that would be knucking futs. Join us for an Elements workshop. Where there's a will, there's a way, and we're going to get you there.